I'm the bad guy for telling my dad's girlfriend that I don't need a stepmom. My parents have been divorced since I was 9. They still get along pretty well, so there is no bad blood between them. My mom and I don't have the best relationship, but it's still a good relationship and she was a good mom. My dad has been with his girlfriend since I was 16. To put it plainly, we never got along. She always acted like she was trying to replace my mom and had issues whenever I hang out with my dad alone. I only got to see him every other weekend, and so I like spending the time I got with him with just him. She even once told him she thought I had daddy issues because I was sitting in their bed, fully clothed over the covers, watching TV with him, which my dad laughed at. She had always tried to dictate what I wore. Example, if I wore a crop top with an undershirt, she tells me to change and wear something appropriate. Well, recently I got tired of her mothering me. I'm a grown woman with a child of my own. Stepmom is a title that doesn't need filled in my life. And I told her exactly that. Well, she threw a big fit, cried to my dad, who called me. His words were, "Hey, I got it, but you could have said it nicer." Maybe I was a little harsh, but this is the same woman who threatened to kick me out of my dad's house at 16 for wearing a skirt because, and I quote, "Stop dressing like a whore or you're going to get sexual assaulted." She also let her adult children threaten me while I was still a minor. So, guys, I'm not the bad guy for telling dad's girlfriend I don't need a stepmom. And also, I would like to point out that my dad has broken up with her more than once over her treatment of me. They just got back together after over 4 years of separation. He claims she's changed, but when I have to be alone with her, which isn't much, she back to her old ways. She only does this when my dad isn't around, so he hasn't seen any of it. So what do you think? I'm the bad guy for taking custody of my niece and spoiling her now. Without getting too into my family's history, I've been the legal guardian of my niece for the last 2 years. So when my niece was born and until I was 20 and moved out of state, I was pretty involved in her life. My older brother that struggles with substance abuse had a daughter who lived in various apartments motels with my niece. Sometimes he'll leave her with my parents for months or weeks. My parents have their issues as well, so it's never really been a good stable life for her or any of my siblings and cousins. I always tried my best to look out for her when I was around. I work at pizza shop and as a teen, I'll bring her home a pizza or pastries when I could. We'd play video games and do things together. Even when I was in college, I will always make time for her. Got my tech degree in certifications. Move out of state for a good job making 35K a year at first. Now I bring in 110K on salary but also get frequent bonuses, plus benefits and groceries and gas paid for. I'm putting this here because my income is brought up a lot by my relatives. The state took my niece away from my brother. They were going to have her stay with my parents or my aunt, both not good living situation. But I opted to take her in. I had to go through all the steps and show my income and living situation and why it will be better for her to live with me. She's been living with me the last 2 years and it's been great. She has her own room for the first time, and I will admit, I do buy her things she wants, but she never makes outrageous requests. I just think about me as a kid having to save up for a whole year to buy a single video game and how I can just buy her any game whenever. She asked me for parts of a gaming desktop. I bought them and she put it all together herself. If she's out with friends, I easily her money without her having to ask. She's a good kid. Sure, she has some emotional issues to work through, but she's a good and kind. Even if she weren't, I don't want her out and broke. My brother is pissed at me for taking his little girl away. My parents and aunt are pissed that they can't have her. It has not been proven. I suspect that they just want the government assistance that will come with it. I could just be looking at them judgmentally though, but I grew up with them. My niece posts pictures on Instagram from where we live. She will post pictures of our outings, and I always get snippy calls and messages from them that I'm spoiling her and making them hate her. I got extreme hate when I got her car a couple of months ago. They think I'm doing this to rub it in their face, which maybe I am. I don't send pictures or give them updates, but I do enjoy knowing that she's living better life. It does feel good, given how I grew up and how they have treated her, but it's not my only motivation. So what do you think? I'm of the bad guy for asking why my stepmom was in my room. I'm moving full time with my dad and his wife Helen about a year ago. They've only been together about 3 and 5 years. At first, Helen and I got along. We bonded fast. Things were great. I noticed that she never came to me directly when she had an issue. She would always talk to my dad to talk to me. Dad is always very real with me. He doesn't sugarcoat or lie about how he feels. He always tells me if he thinks something she complains about is unreasonable. About a year ago, they bought a house together and I moved in. I pay rent, not a lot but enough for what I'm getting. I do chores around the house every day and work 35 hours a week. Since we moved here, Helen has a lot of issue with me, yet she still won't come and talk to me. At some point, she decided I hate her, when I genuinely just don't see her much due to my work schedule. Dad has been coming to me with Helen's issue often for some months now. This all came to boiling point last week. Helen wrote on the chore board to clean my room, so I did. Took me a few days between work, cleaning out my car and the amount of laundry I pile up. I admit my room was in bad shape, but it wasn't horrid. After about a week, I deemed it clean and went out to my boyfriend's. After my first night, my dad texted in our group chat between me, him, and Helen, asking when I was coming home. I told him I'll be home the next day. Helen responds with, "Have fun. When do you plan to finish your room?" I responded quite bluntly. All I have to do is laundry and vacuum, which I do Friday anyways, but it's pretty clean to my standards. I'm more curious as to why you're in my room when I'm not home. I know it's your house, but that's my personal space. And then silence. Hours later, Dad called me. Says Helen is on his ass, calling me disrespectful, rude, ungrateful. He understood when I was coming from and said all I did was answer her question and ask a question. He mentioned she was drunk, which she's been a lot lately. I had problems with her going in my room while I'm not home. She had messed up my altar and taken down some of my tapestries before, so I was pretty upset to know she wasn't there. A few days later, Dad and I got a chance to take a loan. He said that Helen was threatening to kick me out. She told him to give me 30 days to pack up and go. She felt so enraged and disrespected that she was ready to kick me out, but couldn't even come talk to me. Dad offered to help me get my own space, but I can't help but I feel I'm getting pushed out. It hurts to think that she hates me. I don't think I've really done anything so terrible. So, did I go so far? Was I disrespectful? So, am I the bad guy here? Am I the bad guy for not wanting to make my daughter an on-paper tenant? Daughter is 20 years old and lives at home. I charge her $50 per week for rent, which is way below the rental value of your room because I don't want to make money of my child. I just want her to learn financial responsibility. We do online bank transfers and don't have formal paperwork for the arrangement. However, she recently told me that she wants a legal tenancy contract so that she has paper proof of paying rent. She is not necessary since I will just answer questions about her rental history as a reference on her apartment applications. She is saving up to move out and has a friend she plans to move in with eventually. She doesn't have much credit, so will probably need me to be a guarantor anyway. She got upset by this and said she doesn't want to rely on me to watch for her when I could say whatever I want. I have never done anything to indicate I can be trusted, so I was confused. She said I sprung the rental payments on her as soon as I could get away with it. But like I said, it's about financial responsibility. I don't think she understands it's my job to make sure she can survive on her own. She got more upset and said that she wouldn't still be living at home if not for me, so the rent is unfair. I did have to borrow about $5,000 from her to pay past due bills and the mortgage because the household was hit hard by COVID-related debts. But I have always intended to pay her back when I can, and she knows that. I offered to start deducting her rent from the $5,000 I owe her so she can keep all of her current income for her moving fund. But that just set her off again, because now she thinks I'm making excuses to charge her money so I can close the debt and never have to pay her back. So her ultimatum is that either I stop charging rent entirely or I grant her full tenant's rights with legal paperwork. She's living in my house, well into adulthood, and it's my daughter, not a real tenant. I was taken aback by all of this, so I'm at a loss. Am I the bad guy? Am I the bad guy for telling my ex I was pregnant when I'm not? Hello people, it's me again, so here's my story. I was dating a guy for a year, but we already broke up last month. I have never been doubtful to anyone. That's why I never probed his stories, information, his wallet. We never really made each other's family members or friends. It was just us both on our little bubble. So fast forward, I accidentally saw his car registration on his car glove box. I saw his real IDs, which has a different name on it. I confronted him. Few weeks later, I learned that he was married. He cheated on me and his wife. He also hooked up with other girls. He contracted STD, and I was so afraid I have it as well. I had myself checked and sadly, I had it. He's the only guy I slept with. He took my girlhood, my heart, and compromised my health. I've never been messed up more than what he did to me. Now I'm currently on treatment. It's curable. I was so mad that I blocked him on all social medias. After 3 weeks, I reached out to him and said I was pregnant with his child. Although I'm not. Just want to know what he'll do about it. I said he doesn't have to worry, cause I will handle it. He saw my message and blocked me. I kinda expected it though. I know he won't face what trauma he did give me, cause he's still in a playful stage like a freaking teenager. But I'm sure, 10-15 years from now, he'll gonna think and wonder what could have been if he really had a child with me. I'm sure it will come out to that point. So am I the bad guy for at least trying to get back at him? Am I petty? Well, I guess I am. I'm letting you guys judge me. And of course, his wife knows it. So, am I the bad guy here?